Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanao Bhunattu Sahaviryankaravavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti. According to Vedanta, death will not come unasked. Every death, people cannot believe this because the fundamental doubt everyone will have is, I have never asked for death. I don't want to die. Nobody wants to die. But then, either you say death will come without you demanding, then there is no problem. Or we have to establish that everybody demands death. I want to die, but I'm not able to die. What to do? Say. A few days back, a person called me, video call. And she's saying, I'm not dying. I don't know how to die. Please tell me. Now, if a person is asking for it, then there is no problem. But then Vedanta gives a very strong proclamation here, saying, death will not come unasked. But then when did I ask? In fact, Vedanta goes one step further and says, not only death, nothing in your life comes without you asking for it. You asked for it. You asked for it means you desired it. You wanted it. Then immediately everyone will pounce and jump on and say, what are you speaking? Is there anyone in the world who says, I want to suffer? Is there any businessman in the world who says, I want loss? Is there anyone in the world who says, I want to be rejected? Everybody is seeking only these things, but then Vedanta says, without you desiring it, it will not come. Everything that happens to you is happening because of you asked for it. But then when I asked for it, you have not asked for it consciously. You may not have asked for it directly, but since you have been entertaining a thought, and that thought will be fulfilled. Your desire will find its fulfillment. Therefore, be conscious of what you are desiring. Be alert enough to know what you are desiring, what you are asking, what you are wishing. Many a times we don't realize what our thoughts are, what we think. Superficially, all of us will say, fine, Imagine as you are passing by a new car, bought, and you are parking outside, and these kids are playing cricket there. What happens to you? And suddenly you hear a noise. Nothing has happened. It has not hit the glass or anything. It just goes and hits the bonnet, the steel. What happens? What is the thought you get internally? We may say, Ishvara, just a passing thought, man. Don't account all those things, please. But life says, doesn't matter. Any thought to which you have given power, trust, intensity, that will be valued. That will take priority. First priority will be given to that. Now go back and think in your own life. Imagine, visualize a moment in your life, the peak of compassion that you have experienced, the peak of kindness that you have experienced, the peak of identification, love that you have experienced. I'm not talking about, February 14th love. Okay. That's not what I'm referring to. Your ability to feel for the other person. Okay. Charitable outlook. When is the peak of your charitable outlook? Charity triggered in you, right? Sometimes, charity would have triggered inside you, right? And you have done something. Now, before that, you would have felt it, right? That emotion that you have experienced. Okay? Visualize that. Imagine that. What happens to you? Don't do now. Okay? Now attend the class. Do after the class. Don't start doing all that now. I'm just giving some examples for you. Sir, we don't even know. Most of the problem we will have is when you start thinking, you will be searching in your memory. When did I experience kindness? Immediately you will start becoming very great philosopher. What is kindness? What is compassion? Immediately all questions will come, which means what? You have never experienced it. Whereas, when I say the peak of anger, moments of anger, moments of frustration, moments of anxiety, moments of lust, moments of greed, insecurity, fear. Compare those two experiences, right? Theoretically speaking, all of us will say, sir, we should be having more of compassion, more of kindness, more of charitable disposition, more of love, more of empathy, more of sympathy, more of this, more, all that we will give. Lecture we will give. But when you are experiencing it, you can say, I got frustrated. One statement I made. While driving, it's about 4.5 hours driving, sir. In that 4.5 hours of driving, out of frustration, I screamed at that fellow who came so close to me and overtaking me from the left. And suddenly I find our opposite fellow comes. Suddenly he's taking a turn. What do? What did you do? You're not going to stop, you're not going to turn around, and you're not going to follow that fellow and shout at him and all those things. He has gone and you are traveling. But what happens to you is what? Minimum 2-3 bad words. You dash, 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 dash. That you say for how long? Only for few seconds. Right? In terms of duration, if you take, it's only few seconds. But before that and after that, you have been listening to Mirabai by Ajans in the tape. And suddenly now, Lata Mangeshkar has become a top now. So you are listening to her, Lata Mangeshkar music, divine music. You are experiencing the divinity. You are cherishing that. That cherishing was going on for 45 minutes, 1 hour. 1 hour of that divine music experience vis-a-vis that 10 seconds of frustrated outburst. Right? The tragedy is, according to law of karma, it will give more weightage to that 10 seconds than to this 1 hour. Immediately people think, oh, negative is given more, is it? It's not negative, please. It's not positive. Then what is it, sir? Wherever you have given full of yourself to it, whenever you feel angry, your whole being is involved in that. The intensity that you can feel in you vis-a-vis compassion. You feel sorry for someone, sympathy. You feel sympathetic. These are basic emotions. But how much intensity you bring behind it? Vedanta is not going to take into account only the thought. Every thought is accounted along with the intensity. That intensity is your Purushartha, remember. That is your Purushartha. You give it, you have a choice. How much to give, how much not to give. So when Vedanta says, you suffer because you asked for it, immediately we turn around and say, when did I ask for it? When did I do that? That's why I'm giving you this example. Similarly, extension of the same thing is what this idea. You do, the death will come only when you ask for it. It will not come unasked. Remember that. But then it is not any singular. So 2 factors are to be taken. That's what we have seen in that diagram, this law of parallelogram of forces. We have seen that earlier. It's not just one. It's not just a thought. It also includes the intensity, also number of thoughts. Since all that is working together, the resultant of all that will take a particular direction. If the resultant is moving out, the resultant desire. But then, if you go on feeding any one strong, powerful desire, then that strong, powerful desire by law needs to be attended to first. Priority will be given to that first. So you entertain the thought, like this example he gave of this old lady. Says, what is there in this world for me to see? There is nothing in the world for me to see. So she is entertaining what thought? Entertaining the thought for not wanting to see the world. So what is the demand of that person? What is the desire of that person? I don't want to see. I don't want to see. So when he says, I don't want to see, what is going to be provided by nature to that person? Nature is supposed to fulfill whatever is asked by you. That's what the job of world is. That's what the job of nature is. It will build the house according to the plan that you have given. You're just a mason. You are the architect. You provide the design accordingly, they will make it. They are not going to worry about whether it will stand, it will not stand, whether it makes sense, it doesn't make sense. That is not their problem. Their job is what? I'll do as you have asked for. Faithfully, they will do it. Exact to what you have asked. No addition, no deletion, no alterations. Now, what you have asked for this not wanting to see. Result is what? Blindness. Now don't go backwards. This is the problem. Immediately don't go converse and say, oh, this person is blind. That means he had desired to be blind in the last Janma. See, that is a stupid argument. It's like saying, just because you go to a temple doesn't mean you are a devotee. You say, immediately you cannot go reverse and say, oh, he is going to temple, therefore he is not a devotee. Redundant argument. See. So be careful in reasoning. The reasoning is going only from this direction. Don't go reverse direction. This direction is, if you have been entertaining this thought, that thought will be fructified. When it fructifies, how it is going to fructify? How it is going to be met? The realization of the thought is, you have to be given an embodiment without eyes. Why? You only asked for it. You only said, I don't want to see the world. I don't want to see the world. This is the thought process. If you are entertaining such a thought process, then nature will adhere to that and say, what are the things they accounted for? These things. These are the things that gets accounted. This undigested thoughts. Undigested thoughts is what is equated to unfulfilled desires. What is undigested thought? You got the thought, but you did not come to a logical conclusion. The thought has been triggered in your mind. Triggered, but you did not proceed in that direction. Example we give is, as you are sitting in the bus, you see the bus is moving. Across the road, you see a person in a restaurant. Outside the restaurant, they have put this hot jalebi. Right? You see that. The desire to have that hot jalebi occurred, but you did not get down from the bus, go there, have that jalebi, and then go home. You don't do that. A thought has occurred in you, but the thought is not, you are not acted on that. Or sometimes you see, you go to a meeting, in a meeting, your boss says something which is absurd, redundant. At least you feel that, right? You felt that it is not logical, it is not correct, it is inappropriate, it is irrelevant. it will not work, it is impractical, but you got the thought, but did you express that to him? Did you tell him? You didn't tell him. Or it could be even the other way around. You got the thought, what a fantastic idea given by your colleague. Beautiful. One factor, one idea changed the entire complexion of the discussion. Wow. You felt it. You wanted to congratulate that colleague of yours, but you did not express that to that person. Right? What is going to happen to that? The desire came, you didn't act on that, because action happens only at the two levels. Expression for any experience to complete, it's only two ways. One is either you have to speak it out, or you have to physically experience it. One of that has to happen. A thought has occurred, you have not said, you are not spoken about it, you have not discussed about it. And then actions, because actions possible only at three levels. Kayikam, Vachikam, Manasam. At the body level, at the speech level, talk, and mental. Mentally, you did not sit back and analyze from where I got this thought of jalebi, why I got this idea of jalebi, and what is in the jalebi that I am getting so excited about. Is it just that association? Just like that, I went to have a cup of coffee in a shop 2 days back. You know why? Not because of I wanted to have coffee, not because of anything else, just the name board. Name board of that cafe was Mylapore Cafe. Right? Just because the fellow has written the name is Mylapore Cafe, that's all it is. I have no clue. I had no desire to have coffee. No idea for. But then what is it? Physically, you have to go have that coffee, come back. Imagine you get all those things, but I have not acted on those things. I have not worked on those ideas. What is going to happen when I go to sleep? All these undigested ideas which I had entertained during the daytime needs to be flushed out of the system, right? It can't be simply hanging there. Something has to be done with that. What to do? I will be dreaming that in Madras Cafe, I am having a board meeting with the jalebi. It's a dream I will get. Now you will say, sir, in a boardroom, how can you have a boardroom in Madras Cafe? Madras Cafe will be the name of the boardroom. In companies, they have, rooms, they have different names, like that. Madras Cafe will be the boardroom. In the boardroom, the person will be making jalebi. Right? Weird dreams we get, isn't it? From where you are getting all that? Say, this happens at the surface level fleshing out. Now, what Vedanta is saying is, it just extends the same rule deeper to the whole life. What happens in one day is extended to the whole thing. What is that? All that is unfulfilled works together to create a particular embodiment and an environment for you to experience all that. This movement, this change of shifting from one embodiment to another embodiment is what is referred as death of the previous and the birth of the next one. That's it. It's a very simple idea. Nothing complex about it. What is happening to you on a day-to-day basis? Why you are having those dreams? Because of those undigested ideas. Why you are having next life and all those things? Because of your unfulfilled desires. Same thing. Undigested ideas creates dream. Unfulfilled desires creates birth. Now, is there any guarantee that this is the birth I will get? There's no guarantee. See, can you define it, sir? Nah? Yeah, you can define that, provided if you can define your undigested, unfulfilled desires. If you can be clear about your unfulfilled desires, then you can. There is only one person in the entire history who had this peculiar one. Unless he desires, death will not come. Bhishma. Today is supposed to be Bhishmashtami. Bhishma is the only one who had that. Unless he desires. And Vedanta says, all of us are Bhishmas only. It's nothing new, nothing peculiar to Bhishma. It's not any extraordinary boon to him. Same boon for all of us. Only difference between Bhishma and all of us is what? Bhishma had the tremendous clarity and control over any thought. No weaknesses for him. Wants to fulfill, the son goes in search to find appropriate person to marry for his father. And then there is a calamity in the house. The mother calls him and says, now you get married. He says, nothing doing. Now, ultimate command is for you to get married. Situation pressurized him to get married. Because no heir. And without a king, a state cannot be maintained. It's not possible. So you are the only person. So the only way you can get is to get married. Situation pressurized. Then his mother pressurized. And such a beautiful girl, Amba, of all the three girls, she is the most beautiful one. He said, you marry me. He says, no. And it went to an extent where this Amba pleaded to Bhishma's guru, Parasurama. And Parashurama comes. He says, yeah, my student only, my student. If I tell him, he will do it. Don't worry. He said, Amba said, no, you come and tell him in front of me. He said, what is this? It's okay, I'll come. Doesn't matter, I'll come with you. So Parashurama comes. And he calls out Bhishma. Bhishma comes and he prostrates to his guru. And he sees in the corner, this girl is standing. Immediately he would have guessed what is the instructions going to be from his guru. And his guru says, forget about your stupid, things and all that. I am telling you, get married to her. He says, no. If you are not going to be adhering to my instruction, then fight with me. I suppose you people are familiar with who is Parashurama. 27 generations of Kshatriyas he wiped out. He will come, he will destroy all these people and go back. And the younger generation will grow. And then they grow and they come up. When they come to age, he will come again. Destroy those people. Then next generation will come. Again, what you will do? Come back. It's like COVID-19, Delta variation, that variation, this variations are there, no? Like that. And only thing is the Omicron is not so destructive. Right? But this man was not like that. Every time when he's coming back, he comes back with more. Finish them. 27 jet wiped out. Kartavirya Arjuna is a fellow who he fought. The fellow had 1,000 hands. Imagine a person to be having 1,000 hands and you got to fight with him. He's not a normal fellow. Parashurama is and on top of all those things, Parashurama is avatar of Vishnu. Vishnu's avatar, he is one of the avatars of Vishnu, Parashurama. He's a guru. Guru says, get married. He says, I will not move from my word. And Parashurama actually started the fight. He fought with him for 28 days. Parashurama and Bhishma. 28 days. And Parashurama says, I made a mistake of teaching everything to you. Some things I should have kept to myself. I made a blunder. All that. Astra pratyastra, astra pratyastra, astra pratyastra, everything Parashurama tried, failed. He didn't budge. Finally, Parashurama has to give up. He goes and tells Amba, says, I don't know what to do with this fellow. There's no way that I can win over him. So, I'm extremely sorry. And he goes back. What is it? Any temptation, in any crisis, no thought will pass through his mind without his sanctioning, without his allowing. If you are having such a control, that's why he got the name Bhishma, the terrible fellow. Man with extreme control. If you are like that, then you can decide. You can consciously decide. We are not in that scenario. Therefore, we cannot consciously decide. But then there is no big difference, he says. So what is that you are entertaining? And what basis? The basis, remember, basis is the thrust that you are giving to the thought, the intensity with which you are feeling the thought. That's why they say the last thought that you entertain, the time of death, is what is going to determine your next birth. Oh, very simple then. All that I have to do is what? Just before dying, I have to say, Narayana, that's all. Straight Vaikuntha. Throughout the year, whole life you can do whatever you want. Krishna says it doesn't work like that. The last thought that you will get at the time of death will be which thought? The thought to which you have given full intensity, full thrust. That's what Ramtirtha says. You should entertain a thought like how a bee stings. When a bee stings, it gives its entire life to it. After a bee sting, it dies. See, all that it has, it gives it to that one sting. Same way, all that you have, you should give to that one thought. Wherever you are giving that intensity, that thought alone will get prioritized. First priority will be to that. To what we are all very comfortably giving, very freely giving, is most of the time to negative thoughts. The losses impact you more than profits. The loss will make you feel more than the profits. So where you are going to, which one you are going to demand in life, then you are ordering for more and more of losses. Therefore, what you will get? Loss only you will get. And then you will say what? Sir, when did I ask for loss? Will anyone ask for loss? You only ask for it. Here comes all these ideas. So now he's moving to another important facet. Of course, there are so many facets. We are not able to touch upon all those things here, right? Like, the idea of reincarnation. When this reincarnation happens, what is the next question is there, right? Yeah, continue.
Page 291, last paragraph. There is also a powerful conjecture in spiritual lobbies that a person may not be reincarnated immediately after death. That his causal subtle body may take a while before it finds the appropriate gross body and environment. The interim period after death and before the next birth would reassemble sleep or dream. This observation again has certain validity since it is seen happening to other living species. The seed fallen from a tree is not always subject to immediate germination. An egg laid by a bird takes time to hatch. So too a human may experience a period of sleep or dream before his next incarnation. People the world over are unaware of the relentless law of karma. They entertain all sorts of desires indiscriminately, plunge into action in pursuit of their passions, thoughtless of the dire consequences, and end up with calamities in their life. Unaware of their responsibility for the misfortune, they bewail the stars and planets, blame everything, everybody in the world except themselves. In desperation, some go to astrologers, palmists, and spiritualists for help. Others pray to the gods to mend their fortune, not realizing they have brought the misery upon themselves and that they have to redeem themselves.
Now, this is another quick question we have. How long does it take from one body to another body? How long it is going to take? One set of people say it happens instantly. Another group of people say it doesn't happen instantly. If it is not happening instantly, then where it goes? What is happening in between? How long it will take? All this is more of a conjecture, he says. Because there is no way that you can, they just claim and move. That's about it. That's the meaning of conjecture. Means there is no attempt to establish it or non-establishing it. They just make a statement and pass on. I'm telling you, happens like that. That's all it is. You just have to take it or leave it. But either case, there is no further probing into it. So when you propose an idea, you are supposed to support it through facts and reasoning, isn't it? And that's called a hypothesis. You propose a hypothesis and then you move. Conjecture is not that. We just claim things and move. That's what he is explaining here. He says It's a powerful one. What is it now? That is, a person may not be incarnated immediately. It will not happen immediately. If it is not happening immediately, then what is happening? Then they give this one. The example is given immediately. You plant a seed, it will not grow immediately. No, it takes time, isn't it? But then it depends on the seed also, is it not? The weeds grow immediate, right? Mosquitoes lay eggs. The chicken also lays its egg. Well, how long it takes varies, isn't it? For each one of that, the cause to produce an effect, there is a time gap. It is not just this one. There is a time gap. The time gap, how long it will take, differs from seed to seed, animal to animal, isn't it? How long it takes to give birth? For a human, it is 9 months. Right, 54 weeks, or whatever, or I don't know, whatever number of weeks they say. Up to this is one. Up to this happens, that happens. Slowly it grows, and then takes birth. So there is a period. 9 months is a period in between. For something they say it is taking around 20 months. 15 months it takes. Some of them takes just few minutes. In few minutes, the whole thing is over. It is born, it grows, it procreates, it gets old, dies. Birth, growth, decay, disease, death. All that happens in a matter of minutes. For some of them, to give birth itself takes 15 months. Depends. But however, there is a gap. However fast it can appear, but there is a gap. It's like you switch on the light. It appears to us as though it comes instantly, but then it is not. There is a gap. The light rays has to travel. But because the distance is so less, we are able to experience it immediately. But if the distance is more between sun and earth, say it takes about 7 minutes. Then they are saying there are stars which the light has started leaving from that star. It is yet to reach the earth, but the star is no longer there. It's burnt. It has become a black star. It's burnt out. You can imagine that distance. How far that has. Many of the stars that we are seeing now are not there actually. What we are seeing now is the light which has emitted about few million years back. But on this date, same time there, they don't exist. There's a time gap. Same rule is extended here, he says. But it's just a claim. But Vedanta doesn't claim that. Vedanta gives an explanation to it. What is the explanation of Vedanta? It will not happen instantly. But sometimes it can happen instantly also. It can appear instantly also. Sometimes there is a gap. On what basis? Depends on what that seed is. What that jiva is. If the jiva is of a low quality, one, it cannot stay without embodiment. It will rush to come back to embodiment. The collected, choosy, specified ones, evolved ones, will not be getting, because we need to prepare an appropriate womb for that to be carried. Will not be available so easily. It is a rare one. To get a womb like that, to get an environment like that, demand takes time for nature. It cannot be created immediately. It's like you make, this, they say Rolls Royce. It's handmade. You give order and then they start the manufacturing. Then they will select, this is the one I want, that is the one I want, this is the one I want. You give all those things and then it takes about 6 months for them to manufacture the whole thing and then give you. Other cars, you can go to the showroom and take the car and go, that's all. You give money, give the check, give the DD, and then transfer there. He gives the keys and you can take it. There's no problem. Two-wheeler, cycle. You want to buy a cycle. So all that you have to do is what? Just go there, pick up and go. Sometimes you can just cycle and come home also. There's no necessity that you need to. But these certain things you cannot do like that. Same way, certain jivas, certain individuals demand a particular womb, a particular environment to carry that. Everyone will not be able to carry an appropriate one. So first they have to prepare that appropriate one and then come in. So that takes time. During which time, what happens to them? Where are they? Whatever the duration is, whatever the transfer is, however quick it is, there is a period. What is that period? Where are they going to be during that period? That's where they say they go to a realm called heaven or hell. But remember, this realm called heaven or hell were not an actual place. Don't think that, it is actually there. There's no such thing. This is not a geographical place. Then what is this heaven and hell, sir? This heaven and hell are as real as your dream and as unreal as your dream. The dream that you had yesterday, assuming that you are not sleeping in the class, right? The dream that you had yesterday, was it real or unreal? Don't worry, we will analyze that now. From next chapter, we will start that. You see, after this, after this reading, the next 4 chapters is going to be the real Vedanta. And so far in this 25 years, I have never attempted to take those classes. Right? Wherever I have taken this book, Vedanta Treatise, I come up to this portion and stop. And stop the class. I say, close down the class, that's it, enough. We don't proceed more than this. The supreme reality, that the what, illusions and theory of perceptions is like, we will see more and more there. Now, your dream, was it real or unreal? If you say, yes, sir, it was real, I'll say, whatever bank loan you have, no? Withdraw, give that check, bring that checkbook, all that you have earned in the dream. the multi-billion that you have earned in the dream, bring it now here. Not possible. You say, no, 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 no. But then, if you say it is unreal, then why there is palpitation? Why you are sweating? Huh? You get a horrible dream. You wake up screaming. You wake up screaming. Then the wife has to give one back to you and say, what happened? Nothing. Go back to sleep. Why did you do that? Why your heartbeat increases? When the lion is chasing in the dream, why your heartbeat is increasing here? Right. Now, can you say it is real or unreal? It is very much real so long as you are in the dream. The moment you come outside, what happens to that? It is unreal. Isn't it? Same rule is applied to this heaven and hell also. In one way, yes, it is real. All the Yamadutas will be frying you inside there, that boiling oil. I know the tragedy of that is you will be bleeding and bleeding and bleeding and bleeding. Pain will be there, pain will be there at the body level. When you have beyond a point pain, you go unconscious. You know that. It's a natural design. In the physical pain grows beyond a point, you get knocked off, you go unconscious. In hell, you will never go unconscious. You will be fully conscious. Imagine you're frying there, the inside. And they'll be poking. And they give lashes. The old one, this Greek one, they give lashes, 100 lashes, they'll say. And the 24th lash, the fellow will go unconscious. Then you know what they do? They take him to the physician. The physician will apply all the creams and this, that, and all those things and give them food. There's that and all that. He will get okay. Then again, after 1 month, they'll bring him back. 25, 26, 27, they'll start. Now by 40, the fellow will go unconscious. Again, what they'll do? They won't leave. You go unconscious. Here, there's no such thing. You will never go unconscious. Pain only. Same way, pleasure also. Then we go to this basic principle of what is this heaven and what is this hell. Those who have done papa will go to hell. Those who have done punya go to heaven. What is it now? If you have been entertaining good thoughts whole day, you will get all pleasant dreams. If you have been watching all this, all that you have to do is what? Watch 4 horror movies and then go to sleep. You don't need some great this one and all that. Watch 4 horror movies and go to sleep and see what happens. And then watch that same horror movie without music. Mute it and then watch. Same horror movie. Mute it. You must see that. It'll be hilarious. The horror movie will become a comedy movie. Why is it? This is what we experience, you see. We experience these things in a very, very awful way. What you experience, what you go through, what you entertain is what comes in your dream. Same way, what thoughts you have been entertaining, what actions that you have been doing, what words that you have been speaking, all that gets accumulated. That accumulated ones, the merits that you get, that punya and papa, you go through it there. After that, what happens? Depending upon what sort of a embodiment that you have demanded from your own total vasanas, which we have seen earlier, the prarabdha vasanas which comes out, that particular group comes out. Whatever the group that comes out, depending on that group of desires, what sort of body needed to fulfill those desires, what sort of an experience is needed, what sort of an environment that is needed to experience that, all that will be provided to you. This provision gives us a great experience. Again, what happens? This is the problem of life for us. When you come back, you are going through the consequences of your previous desires. You have come here to experience those things. By experience, you fulfill those desires. This is the idea with which you have come here. But having come here, parallelly, we do one more thing. That's what we call ourselves as every human plays dual role. One is a bhokta, another one is a karta. As karta, you are creating new desires, new karmas. Also, as bhokta, you are experiencing and exhausting your earlier created desires, karmas. So one hand you are going on deleting, other hand you are going on creating. See, how much you delete, and what you create gets further into the complexity. This is how the complex way karma works. Because of these two things are happening parallelly to us. Parallelly you are creating, parallelly you are exhausting. You are squaring the account by experiencing it. At the same time, in the process, you are creating a new account. This is why Buddha said, when someone comes and insults me, he says, don't react. Why? Because when you react, you are creating a new, you are starting a new account. Why he comes and insults you? He says, 5 Janmas back, I shouted at him. I insulted him. You know, public humiliation I did to him. Now I am getting that back. Suppose if I react to this, what will happen? Because of this, I get irritated, I give one slap to that fellow. What did I do? I've created a new karma of what? I have to get back. What I have to get? Publicly, I will be humiliating someone and that fellow will get angry with me and he will slap me. Only then account is settled. Yes. So therefore, what is advice given there? Don't even react to anything. But the tragedy of human being is it possible for you not to do anything? With all frustration, you may keep quiet verbally, physically. But law of karma is not working only on that plane. Law of karma works on the plane of your thought also. At the thought level, what are you doing is the essential point. So he says, be careful with that. Don't react. Don't immediately go in for externalization of the whole thing. That's where we start going to all these people. You go to an astrologer and ask, what happens to me? What will happen to me? Why this happened to me? And invariably we go whenever we have a problem. Nobody goes to an astrologer when they are not having any issues. Isn't it? Nobody will go. Why should you go? 24-year-old fellow, will he go to a doctor? I want to have a complete checkup. 24 will never do that. But when the same fellow comes to 50, when he comes to 60, what he does? Oh my God, every 6 months I have to get my blood test done. You mean to say, glucose, sugar, you will not get. You will not get diabetes at the age of 24. You will get it only at the age of 50. There's no rule as such. but you'll never do it. Why? Because you never feel the need of it. You feel the need of it is only when you have a problem, when you suspect a problem. When you suspect a possibility of a problem, then we go to those people. When you are having all this, that's what even our fellow did, no? Build a house. The biggest house in India builds, keeps it vacant for 1 year. Why? It's not moved in, it's not shifted in. Why you have not shifted into the house? Because astrologer has told not to shift. After 1 year, you shift, everything will be fine. I'm not saying right or wrong, but I'm only saying it's just the interesting, thing to see people. When do you do that? Only when you start looking to blame everything. When do you blame? Only when you have a problem, you blame. When you're not having a problem, you're not going to blame anyone. In fact, you start inquiring only when you have a problem. When you are not having a problem, you will never inquire. The proof is what? The proof will be the subsequent chapters. The subsequent chapters, you can never probe. You can never question anything. You never argue there. Now, for what I have to know about all these things now? Our things will be, okay, so what? Is the world real or unreal? Now, why should I bother about whether world is real or unreal? Why should I bother about what is perception? Why should I bother about what is the nature of reality? Is there a thing called order of reality? On what basis? All these inquiries we never get into, but we have a tremendous urge in all of us to probe into the cause of it, what is the reason for it, for any immediate problems of us. When you have a problem only, you think. When you are not having a problem, you never think. There. How many of us have sat and analyzed 1983 World Cup? Your entire focus has shifted into the celebration, not in terms of analysis. Whereas one match you lose, what happens? Immediately analysis starts, isn't it? You see ourselves, no? You think only when there is a problem. When there is no problem, you never think in that direction. When do you think of a business? Only when there is a problem in business. When there is no problem, when there is no problem from the customer, when a customer has not given any complaints or anything, what do? Nothing you do. But the moment you see a possibility of a problem, instantly your whole application comes into picture. Now he says, the moment you see this problem, thoughtlessly, you start externalizing the cause and start finding a solution there. That law of karma says there is no second party. There is no third party involved. All that is happening to you is your own creation. Take it or leave it. We don't care. You may say, no, I'm not agreeing, man. I don't agree with you, Ishwaran. When Copernicus said, it is not the earth, it is the sun that is the center. We don't agree with you. He says, I don't care. You agree with me or you don't agree with me. It doesn't make any sense to me. I said, so what? If it is not making any sense to you, he said, it is not the fault of the idea. It is the fault of your sense, your inability. So he says, as you have to go, you need to understand that all this joys and all the miseries is brought upon you by yourself. You bring it upon yourself. How do you bring it upon yourself? By your own thinking, by your own desiring, by your own things. And how that works? It works on the basis of the nature of the thought, meaning the quality of the thought. 2, the quantity of the thought. 3, the intensity of the thought. Thought means all three put together: nature, quality, and intensity. All three put together comes in a mixed way. The problem we have is we have too many thoughts. When you say too many thoughts, the thoughts will be contradicting and conflicting and cancelling. So there is a tremendous chaos, confusion. Number 2 mistake we make is which thought we need to give intensity to which thought we need not give intensity. Mistake. Third one, we don't understand which is a higher quality one, which is a low quality one. Which thought, which desire, which emotion is of a higher quality one, which thought, which desire, which emotion is of a low quality. And we can't distinguish these two things between a high quality, refined and subtle emotions. Those things define your life. What sort of thoughts that you are entertaining. And thoughts, desires immediately understand these three: quantity, quality, intensity. Depending on these three, your resultant will be deciding the course. When you are not having any control over these three, you have no control over your destiny. There's a question: what happens if something for what happened if I desire something for someone else very strongly? Will they be affected by this? If yes, then isn't that an external influence on them? The rule is external influence is not possible. Therefore, the answer is what? This. The proof is, if an external person can desire on your behalf, I desire strongly, may you have some sense. Right? Does it happen? Does it? No. So the proof is what? If that is the case, Buddha, one shot, he would have told, may all of you have proper sense. Problem solved. Isn't it? You see, that's why we say the wisdom of one person cannot be transferred. The wisdom can never be transferred to another person. It's impossible. The love can never be transferred to another person. It's not possible. You know, if that is the case, all that I have to do is what? Strongly, I have to feel that you love me. Then you will start loving me. It will not work. I have tried that. You know, in my school days, college days, I have tried a lot. Miserably failed. I said, then I understood, no, it doesn't work in that fashion. how much ever I feel for that. But then the problem is, we do see we get influenced by external also. Why? How? It's not that external never influences us. Of course, there is an influence. To what extent the external can influence you is only to the extent that you allow that to happen. If you are not going to allow that to happen, external influence is impossible. See, you have to, that's what they say, you got to cooperate. That's why when you ask a person, a hypnotist, when you go, can we hypnotize everyone in the world, sir? They say not possible, sir. Some people can be hypnotized easily. That doesn't mean those who get hypnotized are weak. Not in that sense I'm saying. Okay. Immediately people think, if I cannot be hypnotized means I'm a very strong person. That's not the reason, please. That's not the case. It doesn't prove that you are a strong person. It only shows only one factor. What is it? You are flexible. You allow. Same way, if we allow a person to influence, then it is possible. If I am not going to allow, it will never happen. So the external is allowing us to, external is influencing us only when I give permission. So without my permission, external world can never force itself inside me. That is not possible. That's impossible, that is. If it were to force itself inside me, all that we have to do is what? By now, world would have been utopia. Krishna would have transformed everyone. Why Krishna has to come all the way from Dwaraka to Hastinapur to convince? In spite of his attempting to convince, he could not convince. It didn't work, no. Socrates would have transformed the entire generation of his period, at least, if not all of us. All those who came in contact with him physically could have been influenced by him. Have they? No. Then why? Me desiring for someone will not make any difference to that person. But remember, it makes a difference to you. So therefore, what you are desiring for the other, you should know. Immediately you'll say what? I desire good for others only, sir. Others means who? Neighbor? Next street? Who? Who is that other? That other is only with reference to my domain of attachment. To those whom I have got attached, I claim that I am wishing the welfare of those people. That is why here we say it is Sarvo Janaha Sukhino Bhavantu. Not Sajjanaha Sukhino Bhavantu. Sajjana is associated with me. All my people, all those who are attending my Vedanta class will get enlightened. Those who are not attending the class will not get. This is not the case. It won't work. Whether they are getting enlightened or not, the fact that I entertain that desire shows my ability to identify with how many. The moment I put a circle and say it will work only within that, it will not work. It just, goes waste. So will they be affected by this? No, they will not be affected by that. If it is possible, then all those masters who had the tremendous wisdom could have easily transformed all of us, which did not happen. We can't question their intention at all. Their compassion is beyond any doubt. Their sincerity in wishing the welfare of us can never be challenged. See, that's beyond our, beyond question, beyond any doubts. Still, is there anything happened to us? Nothing happened. Therefore, it is not possible. Right. Let's see in the next class.